Hi, folks. Welcome to our three-part documentary series on Romancing Grand Junction, Tennessee. In this three-part series, we're celebrating the history, the lore, and the legend of bird dogs and field trials. The three parts include a visit to the National Bird Dog Museum and Hall of Fame, and secondly, to historic Ames Plantation, and we're going to get a tour of Ames. And the third part is going to explore and celebrate the men and the women of bird dogs in field trials. We're going to interview several pros, and we're going to go to the national field trial, the national championship, and we're going to follow some dogs. All very exciting. This episode, we visit the historic Ames Plantation. We're going to be with Director Rick Carlisle, and then we're going to take a tour with Hall of Fame trainer Delmar Smith. After the tour, we'll visit the new wall that greets you when you come into Grand Junction. We're also going to visit with a gentleman who came a long ways to visit the National. It shows you how popular it is. We're going to talk to you about where to stay in Grand Junction, and we're also going to say why you don't need to bring a horse to Grand Junction if you're going to go to the National Field Trial.
Ames Plantation is owned and operated by the Hobart Ames Foundation. We operate for the benefit of the University of Tennessee. Ames Plantation first started out in 1901 when Mr. Ames, wealthy New England industrialist, bought the Ames Manor House that was built in 1847 by the Jones family. But he bought the place, he bought the house and 1,000 acres of land in 1901, and then he started on a leasing buying spree until at one point he had amassed a little over 25,000 acres. Now he sold a portion of that to a friend of his, and today we have 18,400 acres. We have about 12,000 acres of timber. About 9,000 acres of that is hardwood, divided between upland hardwood, bottomland hardwood. We've got about 3,000 acres of pine. And our forest has to be a working forest. It has to generate an income each year. We also row crop about 2,500 acres of corn, cotton, soybeans, wheat, and milo. Mr. Ames started this, we have the third oldest registered Aberdeen Angus herd in the nation. Mr. Ames started this herd back in 1913, actually got his breeding stock from Scotland. And today we run about 200, a little over 200 head of registered Angus cattle, and we superimpose research over all aspects of the row crop and livestock commodities, as well as the forestry wildlife program. When you talk about wildlife, we have the Ames Plantation Deer Hunting Club, we have an Ames Plantation Turkey Hunting Club, we also have some duck hunting habitat, and Ames Plantation is basically self-sufficient. We're privately owned and operated by the Hobart Ames Foundation. We operate as a 501c3, a nonprofit charitable foundation, and we operate for the benefit of the university. And if you go back and look at Mrs. Ames's will, Mr. Ames passed away in 1945 and left this place to Mrs. Ames, and she passed away in 1950. You can boil her will down to two primary objectives. One was to maintain the grounds and the administrative support for the running of the national championship for field trialing bird dogs for perpetuity, and two, to provide an educational location, and it states in her will for boys within the College of Agriculture to get hands-on animal husbandry experience. Today we interpret that to be individuals because we have as many females come through here as we do males. So we operate as a research and education center for the University of Tennessee, but we are privately owned and operated and self-funded. Very little support comes through the university, only through research projects that we happen to do with them. So the field trials are a part of Ames Plantation. You go back and look in Ms. Ames's will, and Ms. Ames decided to provide the grounds for the running of the national championship. But she said that the Field Trial Club, the National Field Trial Champion Association, would have to be self-supported, and that they would need to pay the bills for the field trial. And so today the National Field Trial Champion Association is made up of 13 officers and directors, and we help to manage the habitat of the field trial courses, which is about 6,000 acres. That's divided into the morning course, which is about between 2,500 3,000 acres, and the same thing on the afternoon course. Each course is 11.5 linear miles in length. That's what the judges and the gallery will actually ride. A dog will actually run somewhere between 22 to 25 miles during that 3-hour time period. So he has to be in perfect physical condition to be able to run that 3 hours and to run that 25 miles. And the judges are looking for something, just as Doug Vaughn said, something that they want a dog that ends that 3 hours with just as much energy and enthusiasm as he started that 3 hours with. So that's what makes it so special, being a part. But people wonder what we do on Ames Plantation. Well, the field trials are actually a very small part of it. We actually do research for the University of Tennessee, as well as other universities throughout the South. Not exclusively UT, but UT does take priority in a lot of situations. But it's an enjoyable situation. I've been here 35 years, and if I didn't enjoy it, I wouldn't stay with it.
This is the original dog kennel at the Ames Plantation here at Grand Junction, Tennessee, getting ready for the national championship. These are cannon barrels, but Mr. Ames was in the steel business, so he had that pattern and made them for these uprights here. And that's you can tell that's what it is, cannon bar, but they was made for the barn here.
Great. That's great. Let me just pan down through here.
This is the buggies that they would take and pick them up to bring them out for the hunt. And the one right behind there would be the dog trainer guide, and the dog crates is in the back there, and on that one back there. The big one here is a modern one, but that was a trade. This was one of single, what you call a single buggy. And then this one here right back is the dog buggy. And this buggy, see, they have the dog crates back here. So this would be one of their hunting buggies. And that's, they still do this a lot in the South with the mule teams and things where they're training horseback and things. And this is, again, another one like that. They could carry 4 people on these here. And then that deal there in front is the fire things. If you had a fire, that was pulled by the people out to pump water to put it out there.
Captain Gary Lockey didn't want us to forget about the new wall that greets people visiting Grand Junction at the intersection of 57 and 18. It's a beautiful piece of work. I'm going to read a little bit about it so I don't miss anything. There are 4 life-size sculptures mounted on the top of the honorary wall, which represent the 3 bird dog categories: pointing, retrieving, and flushing. Created by Quan Wu of Kansas, these sculptures actually represent actual dogs that are national champions within their category. For pointing dogs, there's Shadow Oak Bow, the winner of the 2013 and 14 national champion title. For retrieving, there is Haiti McBunn, the 1998 national retriever champion. And for flushing, there is Satan Scud, the 1979 to 1980 national Springer Spaniel field champion and member of the Hall of Fame. The wall is lighted 24/7 and always has the U.S. flag and Tennessee state flag on display. Stop and check out the wall during your visit to Grand Junction. Folks, part of the lore, history, and legend of Grand Junction is everything that surrounds this national field trial. And we've all had dreams and aspirations of coming to Grand Junction. Here we have Ken, who's come all the way from the state of Washington. Ken, tell me a little bit about your interest in coming to Grand Junction.
Well, I've been a bird dog man for the last 43 years, and this has been a dream of mine. It's part of my bucket list, and I just couldn't be happier to be here. I've had an opportunity to meet some real legends just in the last day that I've only been here a day so far. Gary Lester. I also got to meet Herb Anderson, who's been doing this stuff since the 40s. And it's just been a dream of mine. I'm tickled to be here, and I'll be on horseback, part of the gallery on the opening day on Monday when they start the trial.
Wonderful, Ken. Thanks for your input.
Okay, thank you so much.
Folks, if you're from out of town and you visit Grand Junction, you have to have a place to stay. I stayed at the Whitney Hill Estate Bed and Breakfast. Regina Brotherton is your hostess, and she is just fantastic. It's the most unique B&B I've ever stayed at. I've put a few pictures for you to look at here. I'm going to put her information right here for you to contact her. That's where you need to go and stay during your visit to Grand Junction. If you come to Grand Junction for the National Championship, you need a horse. But you don't have to bring your own. You can rent one from Kerry Kimmery. That's how I got my horse, and what a great man and what a great horse I had. I've put his telephone number right across the screen so you can give Kerry a call. You won't be disappointed. I've chosen this episode of our Romancing Grand Junction documentary to thank everyone in the Grand Junction area that helped me with this documentary. The support, the guidance, the suggestions, it was just wonderful. There's so many people, the list is, excuse me, is arm's length. And I'm afraid if I mention everyone, I'll miss someone. There are two people I do want to thank directly though, and that's Diane Deming Gates. She was with me right from the very beginning when we conceived this concept and gave me a lot of ideas and introduced me to people. And Regina Brotherton at the Whitney Hill Estate B&B. I mean, she was just fantastic. She also gave me a lot of tips and suggestions. Those people are wonderful people, and I want to thank you again. It was a great time, and I hope to see everyone again someday in Grand Junction, Tennessee, the world capital for bird dogs in field trials. Thank you.
Bird Dogs Afield, presented by Native Performance Dog Food, and brought to you in part by RST Shot Shells, Mud River Dog Products, Pete Shoe Dryer, Wooden Stream Outdoor Footwear, and Canine Active.